There seems to be a lot of beef in the streets, whether it's between Green Bay Packers fans or players with the San Francisco 49ers fans and players. Obviously, we've already highlighted on this channel some of the back and forth between the fan base on social media up until this point, because as we know, the San Francisco 49ers knocked the Green Bay Packers out of the playoffs in a phenomenal game that came down to a Jordan Love interception by Dre Greenlaw. So I think Green Bay fans and players are still kind of sour about how that game ended. And if that's not apparent, we'll take a listen right here to Keisean Nixon, Packers DB, who says the Packers let the San Francisco 49ers off the hook. And Deommodore Lenoir wasn't really loving that. Take a listen here to Keisean saying what he said.
People here, for what is essentially still a voluntary workout. That's nice to see.
I feel like we let a team off the hook last year in the playoffs, and we know that. And everybody on this team here for a mission, and we ready to win a Super Bowl. So we all here locked in, and it showed that we ain't nothing to play with.
So as you can see, this thing is starting to pick up steam, especially when Deommodore Lenoir, 49ers cornerback, responded to this video and says, "Who y'all let off the hook, Keisean?" I think this is fantastic because we got a little bit of a back and forth, and that, of course, is going to play into when these teams face off again. And in typical social media fashion, we got a response from Keisean Nixon to Deommodore Lenoir, and he says, "I said what I said, Custer face." If you are unfamiliar with what Custer means, it's essentially Buster. He just changed the B to a C. But this back and forth is pretty hilarious. We even have Deebo Samuel, who's going to chime in a second. But of course, Deommodore Lenoir was not done. He said, "You're lucky you stopped wearing a visor. I would have cracked it like I did you in high school." Oh boy, sounds like these two guys have a bit of a history that goes back to the high school days, where apparently Deommodore Lenoir lit him up and potentially broke a visor back in the day. But this is pretty good back and forth. And as you can see, Deebo Samuel was getting in on the action in two, and he says that brotherly love. And I'm pretty sure that Deebo has a relationship with Keisean Nixon, so he's playing a little bit of a mediary here to kind of like, hey, be easy, guys. So obviously, as the offseason continues, these players don't have much other than working out, getting prepared for the season, and kind of thinking and reminiscing on the previous year. You hear a lot about how these players will have a chip on their shoulder heading into the next season. Well, it's crystal clear that the Green Bay Packers have not forgot about the San Francisco 49ers. And to be honest, they shouldn't forget, because the last couple times that the 49ers have faced the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs, it has not been a good situation for Green Bay. So as we know, the 49ers will be traveling to Green Bay this year. So they'll be heading to their home stadium. And it's going to be late November, I believe it is, when that matchup is going to kick off. So there could be some elements. There could be some weather. This will be the first time that Brock Purdy plays in Green Bay's home stadium. The last time that I can remember that the 49ers went there in the playoffs was the Talanoa Hufanga block punt, return touchdown situation, the Tundra turnover. And Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback at that time, beating Aaron Rodgers, who was the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, times have changed a little bit, and there will be some new faces, at least at the quarterback position. But there's a lot of guys who were on those teams that remain. And also, too, we have Devondre Campbell now, who clearly has been talking about how he's rejuvenated with the San Francisco 49ers. He's been very outspoken about how he didn't like how he was used with the Green Bay Packers, and didn't sound like he was too happy over there. So this rivalry that's existed for a long time. I remember like some of my first early memories as a 49er fan was watching, Brett Favre, Steve Young, watching those great matchups and those rivalries back then. And it's cool to kind of see it ramp up to another level. Obviously, the 49ers have been, kind of ending other teams' seasons, whether it's the Dallas Cowboys or as recently as the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. So their fans and players seemingly have a grudge against the San Francisco 40. And I get it. Like, you got knocked out of the playoffs, some teams multiple times, by the 49ers. So, yes, I would be sour a little bit too, most likely. But we are here in May, and we have Packers players talking about how they let the 49ers off the hook. Uh, I guess we don't give any credit to the San Francisco 49ers for coming away with that victory. The multiple plays by Brock Purdy down the stretch, Jawan Jennings making plays, Chris Conley making plays. We have, Dre Greenlaw with the interception there at the end to seal it. Christian McCaffrey with big touchdown runs. So I guess it was the Green Bay Packers who let the 49ers off the hook. So they think highly of themselves, and why wouldn't they, right? So heading into this year, we have another matchup on the schedule where I can guarantee you the Green Bay Packers, when they got their schedule, they opened it up or however they received it, and they said, where are we playing the 49ers? And they circled it. We already knew the home and away opponents prior, but once they saw the full schedule laid out, that was probably a big game for the Packers internally, because we know how their season ended, and their seasons have ended, unfortunately, at least by the hands of the 49ers over the last couple of years, even dating back to the NFC Championship game where the 49ers routed Green Bay. So the 49ers have been on the right side of this rivalry, but apparently, the Green Bay Packers let the 49ers off the hook. So we'll see if they can get the job done, not only in the regular season, but I really hope that the 49ers get to square off against the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs again, just for old time's sakes. I think when you see those colors lined up against each other, just brings back nostalgia, brings back, like, these are two of the premier teams in the NFL facing off. The rivalries reignited, two young quarterbacks on each side. This could be going for a while, but let me know what you guys think about this back and forth. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.